Strap yourself in, as it is time once again to use the power of spreadsheets and a very nerdy app to figure out the NFL playoff race in the NFC heading into Week 14. And the team in the NFC with the highest statistical chance to make the playoffs is, of course, the Detroit Lions. Became the latest team to take advantage of the Bears' luck and aversion to paying attention to clocks as they won their 10th straight. They are as close to being in the playoffs as one could be without actually technically being in yet. And it's just a matter of time with their 11 wins being above what the projected safe mark for a wild card is of 10. What they probably don't find funny is with an 11-1 record, they are having a real dogfight for the division, about 7 in 10 chances. They do already own a victory over the Vikings and Packers, so they cannot lose the head-to-head tiebreaker against either. They host the Packers this week for a chance to sweep that season series, then a possible Super Bowl preview when the Bears come into Motown next week, and they will officially clinch a playoff spot this week with a win or a Buccaneers loss or a Falcons loss. In any of those cases, there just wouldn't be enough teams that could match their win total. And for what it's worth, including scenarios that require tie games really convolutes everything for something that is so rare, so we are skipping those until at least the very end of the season. As usual, the calculations are from the Playoff Computer app. If you take fantasy sports way too seriously and want to know exactly how things look in your league, check it out on the Play Store. It has all sorts of geeky data, including the NFL-style paths to clinch. The Philadelphia Eagles continue running away with victories on their own, now up to 8 in a row after beating the Ravens. At 10-2, they are now awarded the Playoff Computer, realistically in designation with the wild card target being 10 wins. Have a healthy lead over the Commanders for the NFC East and are about 9-10 mathematical favorites to claim it. They host the gritty Panthers this week and can punch their ticket with a win and a Cardinals loss and either a Falcons or Buccaneers loss. Returning to the NFC North, it hasn't always been pretty, but the Vikings are winners of 5 straight and now join the party of teams considered realistically in. Still chasing the Lions, and maybe their season finale will have some drama in it for the division. As for this week, they host the Falcons and Kirk Cousins, and they will be in the playoffs with a win and losses by the Cardinals and Rams. Staying in the NFC North, the Green Bay Packers come in next. Compared to the other two, just have a measly 3-game winning streak. With the wild card safe mark at 10 wins, should just need one more notch on the belt to be in. Have that game against the Lions this week, and if they don't manage it there, then Seahawks and Saints to provide some more manageable opportunities. Looking like they won't have to worry about any kind of wild card tiebreakers at the moment, so I won't take up any time talking about them right now. If you are like me and like all the details of this playoff race stuff and want to support this fledgling channel, likes, subscribes, and even pizza-fueled energy through Buy Me a Coffee are all appreciated. The Washington Commanders got a big win over the Titans to end a 3-game slide. More importantly, it keeps them just barely above the group of Sharks in the trenches fighting for spots. Should just need to finish 2-2 to get in. About 3-4 odds at the moment. They have a decent conference record, which might come in handy if they don't get in the easy way. One hiccup is the loss to the Buccaneers, but it's not looking too likely that two teams from the NFC South can manage to be both worthy at the end of the season. They have their bye this week, will come out of it with a game in New Orleans, which will be a must-win game for the Saints. The Atlanta Falcons came out of their bye and couldn't stop their recent troubles, losing their third in a row, the latest to the Chargers. So they are leading the division at 6-6, tied with the Buccaneers, but they did sweep that series, so they still effectively have a game lead. As mentioned, unlikely that two teams from the NFC South will make it to the dance. The Falcons have only about a 1% chance of getting in as a wild card, pretty much division or bust. Tough game against the Vikings this week. Then they do get a break of the Raiders and Giants after that. The computer says if they can get to 9 wins, they should be safe for the division. Still funny to those not in the NFC North, the Falcons could still theoretically win the NFC South with 6 wins. The rest of the division would need at least 7, and the minimum for the rest of the NFC to even make the playoffs is 8 wins. The Seattle Seahawks avoided a 3-way tie in the NFC West by escaping with a win over the Jets. Gives them a 1-game lead for the division at 7-5. Do have one victory already over the Cardinals, but a loss to the Rams. A little bit less than 50-50 to win the division and a little bit more to make the playoffs. 10 wins should do it one way or another, or 9 and hope. The thing that might hurt them, as with all these NFC West teams, is whomever doesn't win the division isn't going to be bringing the greatest conference record to any tiebreaker meetings. The Seahawks travel to Arizona this week to try to put at least one of their division rivals far back in the rearview mirror, but then they joined the tough NFC North for 3 games. So 8-8 is not all that far-fetched either for the other teams to make a run at them. Your guess is as good as mine as how this plays out. In a minute, we'll take a closer look at the NFC West race. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers move up 1 spot as they snuck away with a win over the Panthers to join the Falcons at 6-6. Still have that whole being swept by Atlanta thing hanging over their heads, but they do have quite the nice remaining schedule to try and steal the NFC South title. Raiders this week, then the Chargers, which isn't all that nice, but finish Cowboys, Panthers, Saints. They are the one NFC South team with a somewhat reasonable chance to get in as a wild card if 8% is considered reasonable. Other than that, there's 36% chance to win the division is their best bet. If somehow the Falcons start winning again and deny the Buccaneers the division, they do have that victory over the Commanders that could be helpful as a tiebreaker. For what it's worth, the Buccaneers do not control their own destiny. They could win out and miss out, but 11-6 missing out would require some next level Bears hard luck. The Los Angeles Rams also got a huge win to stay in the picture for both the NFC West and a wild card. At 6-6, still have some work to do, but finishing 4-1 should be good enough. It's a good thing they have one mulligan to use as they play the Bills this week. Not really any head-to-head games that are looking relevant for wild card tiebreakers. Of course, they do have one win over the Seahawks, so they could still sweep that season series. About 1-4 odds to make the playoffs currently. The Arizona Cardinals, with the loss to the Vikings, dropped out of first place in the NFC West at 6-6 with a poor 3-5 conference record. But having a 2-1 division record gives them 1-4 chances to take the division and not much more to make the playoffs. Another team that is likely division or bust. Good news for them is not the worst schedule in the world to finish up with. The big game with the Seahawks this week, then Patriots, Panthers, Rams, and 49ers. And finishing up the NFC West, the 49ers hole got a bit deeper with the loss to the Bills. Down to just 6% to make the playoffs. Likely need to win out. Host the Bears this week to try to start the must-winning part. Looking at that NFC West race with one semi-plausible scenario, shows that if the Seahawks, Cardinals, and Rams all finish at 9-8, if the Rams can manage to win their last two against the Cardinals and Seahawks, the Rams would have an advantage as they would have the best head-to-head record against the group. In any case, this is just one possibility. It very well could come down to the last week. But the 49ers road to pass everyone else is littered with rusty nails. Speaking of doing the winning out part, the Cowboys have now done it twice in a row to preserve slim hopes for the playoffs. Need to continue. Bengals at home this week. The Saints would be considered realistically out if they weren't in the NFC South. Even so, they are looking like another member of team must win out after losing to the Rams. Get the Giants this week to try to get a start on things. The Carolina Panthers aren't officially eliminated from either the NFC South or wildcard contention, but at 3-9, they are considered realistically out. And that will change to officially with a loss and a Falcons win. The Chicago Bears are now officially eliminated from NFC North contention as their downward spiral has hit 6 games. Their only hope is to win out and pray that a lot of help is thrown their way and maybe a watch for Christmas. The New York Giants are still officially eliminated, in case you were wondering. That's it for now in the NFC. Enjoy your day.